this morning, there was a special tribute tram that you and I were both at. It was a celebration of Kent's life, family and friends and colleagues all coming together to reflect on that remarkable life that he lived.
There were countless stories, some that made you laugh, others that made you cry. Right now, Kent's son and our colleague, Joe Dana, joins us with some personal reflection about his dad and what he stood for.
Since I lost my dad, my family and my 12 News family have been overwhelmed by your well wishes, your condolences, and the countless stories of your experience with Kent Dana. He spoke at your high school graduations.
This will be Mike's first Christmas in his new home.
He may have even introduced you through his cherished Wednesday's Child segments.
Oh, yeah!
To the boy or girl who would become your child.
And so we're going to have our third Wednesday's Child here in about an hour.
Or perhaps you just appreciated watching him every evening in your living room.
And finally tonight, you've probably...
To all of you, I want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you for your thoughts and memories and for making the sting of this loss a little easier. During this time, I've thought over and over about two things. One, his 35-year legacy, his body of work, would not have been possible without an army of producers, photographers, and other journalists who researched stories, gathered interviews, and made sure they got the facts right, that the stories and newscasts my father played a role in were credible, trustworthy, and truthful.
Hundreds of Vietnam vets in Arizona are still...
Speaking of truth, I'm in a unique position, being the third-generation broadcaster in my family. My grandfather, who I'm named after, considered it a privilege to deliver news bulletins to Phoenix. He reported live from Luke Air Force Base after the Pearl Harbor attack. He fondly recalled the day he interviewed President Roosevelt.
I thanked the president, wished him happy birthday, and that was one to remember.
Good evening, I'm Kent Dana.
My father, Kent, was a vital cog in a fact-finding storytelling machine to churn out TV newscasts
And the Martin Luther King holiday question.
to Arizona viewers for more than 3 decades. And that brings me back to the word truth. Whether it was my grandpa Joe, my dad Kent, or my colleagues today who I work with day in and day out, the same basic formula remains. We are seeking the truth. We frantically work to get both sides to a story. Every morning, we discuss what we believe matters to families.
They're trying to sell the house, essentially.
To business owners.
It helped pay our payroll.
To blue-collar workers.
We want better and we deserve better.
To the homeless. What's it like?
Hell.
And we try to tell those stories the best way we can. It is a process that has not changed. Contrary to what some pundits or politicians may allege, the vast majority of local mainstream news journalists are just trying to do a good job. There are no hidden agendas.
We do think that we're going to do a better job.
It's interesting. The subject of a town hall that was hosted by my father and Tom Brokaw in the 1980s was the news media. Thoughtful audience members asked questions about transparency, corporate influence, bias, and the list went on.
Do you not fear becoming the people's pet instead of their watchdog?
Is the media being perceived as a tool of special interest groups?
They asked many of the same questions people ask today, and the panelists of news professionals did their best to answer their questions, acknowledging that the process of news gathering is not perfect.
We still try to maintain that constant vigilance in terms of what's happening. Now, obviously, we have limitations.
The difference between that era and today is not that we have changed. The criticism, it seems, is now amplified 1,000 times over. Social media, cable news, and internet conspiracy wormholes have created this environment. They tell you over and over, don't trust your local newscast or your local newspaper reporter. Sometimes we get it wrong. But contrary to many of those politicians and pundits, we correct ourselves in a public way, and we move forward. For what it's worth, the desire by those local journalists who are working in your communities is the same as it was 70 years ago when my grandfather was delivering those news bulletins. We want to bring you stories that matter, and we want to do it in a responsible way.
We'll introduce you.
That's how my dad approached his job. And that's how I and my colleagues carry on his legacy.
Joe, I mean this in the best possible way. You are a chip off the old block. Many thanks to Kent for all of his years of leadership, and to you, my friend. You can find much more on Kent's life and legacy on our website. Just head to 12news.com, or you can use the free 12 News app.